Introducing the Open Palm Podcast with host Jerome Shaw, available today on your favorite podcast platforms. The Open Palm Podcast is a positive, uplifting, motivational, and inspirational podcast. The host brings his insight and philosophy, and you can't help but gravitate towards his smile, his words, and his wisdom. Again, the podcast he hosts is titled The Open Palm Podcast. It's about inspirational messages, motivating themes, and thought-provoking ideas and topics. He'll also help you become more aware and in harmony with your own life, giving you a better understanding of your place in the world and using your skills accordingly, greeting the world with an open palm instead of a closed fist. You can find the show today on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more. You can also connect with the host on Instagram at Jerome Shaw. That's JROMESHAW on Instagram. Jerome Shaw with the Open Palm Podcast. Motivation, meditation, mentality. Go listen, download, and subscribe today.
Don't let yesterday take up too much of today. Don't let yesterday take up too much of today. This is a quote by Will Rogers, and I believe that it is a wonderful one, a very important one for us to understand. Do you often let yesterday take up too much of today? You know, we may have days on a calendar: Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But there are a couple of days that we reference that are not on that calendar, that are not one of the days of the week. One of those days is someday, where we've talked about before, where people will put off things till someday. Someday I'll get there. Someday I'll. Someday I'll. Someday is nowhere to be found. But there's another day that is gone, and actually, you don't even have to think about that day, because that day is no longer here. That day is yesterday. Yesterday. You may think of the things of yesterday, the failures of yesterday, the choices of yesterday, the decisions of yesterday. But don't let yesterday take up too much of today. You know, often we can let the trials and tribulations of yesterday drag our todays down. But our todays are what make our tomorrows. The future hasn't happened yet. It's always in flux, always in motion. But yesterday is gone. Don't let yesterday take up too much of today. For what can you do about yesterday? You know, we can learn from yesterday. But can we change yesterday? Can we step into a time machine and go back? Maybe in the future, at the time of this recording, when you hear this later on in life, it could be, 2050, and you hear this podcast. Perhaps by that time, we'll have come up with some means of going back in time. Or maybe we'll have advanced to a point where we'll be able to do it psychically and alter circumstances in the past. But at this time in history, I don't see much point in fretting about yesterday. We can often learn from yesterday and move on, embracing the present moment that is now. And now is all there is. Now, which stands for no opportunity wasted. So use the power of now, my friend. Now, which is all you have. For what is yesterday? But a poof of wind, a puff of smoke, gone. Vapor that has disappeared, vanished into the ether, only to be remembered or forgotten. Don't ponder on yesterday too long. Don't let yesterday take up too much of today. For today is all we have, and the future is born from the choices and actions we make today. Thank you for listening, my friend. This has been Jerome Shaw on TOP, the Open Palm Podcast here in San Antonio, Texas. I pray you received an encouraging message letting you know that today is the most important today. Let today be the day, my friend, and not the likes of yesterday. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And if this is your first time receiving this podcast, subscribe for more inspirational messages like this. And if you feel compelled to support, consider opening your browser to anchor.fm/jshaw. Clicking that support button there is much appreciated. Big shout out and thank you to all the wonderful supporters who continue to donate to the podcast, making it possible for episodes like this. Have a wonderful and blessed day or night, wherever you are. And take care, my friend.